Anyway, thank you very much for coming this evening. I think it's being recorded, which is great. But really, why do this now? Why talk about goals now? It feels like everybody does goals at the start of the year, and we all set them and we're madly enthusiastic. We get to about halfway through January and suddenly we're all feeling a bit like, oh, I feel a bit off track. You get to the end of January and then you've almost forgotten that you made goals, and then by the time you've got to this stage, middle of February, you're kind of almost given up on them because you think, well, I set them, started them, tried to get on with them, and it hasn't worked, so I'm just going to give up and do my thing. So ultimately, do you give up? No. But why do people give up? There are lots of reasons, and a lot of the time it's because the goals aren't concrete, because we can't actually really dig deep and be excited by the goals we've set. They seem too daunting, they seem too huge. We all focus on what that end thing should be rather than actually focusing on the process. And if you spend time focusing on the process rather than that just shiny goal in the end, it is actually much easier to stay on track and to stick with your goals in the right way. The other reason why we all start goals and then we fall off a cliff and then we give up, and I say we because, you know, I have a goal at the start of every year to get fitter and go to the gym, and I don't think I've ever stuck to that for more than a few weeks, but I'm not excited by that goal. It seems it's not something that really inspires me. But goals that inspire me, I choose to try and write down at least every week, if not every day, to really embed them in my head and to help create habits. But I also don't subscribe to the mantra that people say often. It's, oh, just imagine it and you'll get there. It'll be absolutely marvelous if you just imagine the place that you're going to be, and then it'll all come into reality. And I just don't believe that to be true either. You know, I really firmly believe that you have to be task driven to achieve your goals. You have to try and enjoy the process on the way to getting to your goals, because if you don't enjoy the process, then you give up to a certain extent. Now, that's not to say that because it's hard, it's not good for you. And I love that expression, because we often think if something's really hard, then it's not good for us. It feels bad, so we shouldn't be doing it. But the truth is, most of the goals that you set will feel very hard to begin with. And actually, they'll feel quite hard for quite a long time throughout the process. And so you have to, sounds a bit bad, but you actually have to embrace the pain to a certain extent and say, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's bad for me. It just means that I am learning and getting to where I need to be. So if we accept that we shouldn't just be looking at that glorious end vision of financial freedom, more time for ourselves. And again, that's one of the things people say, well, start these businesses and get going, and then you'll get this financial freedom, and you'll get to a point where you can work less. And I think that's great, but that is a very woolly goal somewhere way down the line. Because the truth is, if you're still a healthcare professional, as in working within a healthcare professional role, and you're trying to run your business, or even if you've just transitioned from that world into this world, it's actually it's exhausting. There's no two ways about it. It is hard. You have to sit down in the evenings and do things that you don't want to do. You have to give up your weekends to do things that, you know, that might take you away from your family or your children. So it is hard. It is glorious when you get to the stage where you can start choosing and picking and choosing about what you want to do and how you want to run your business and how you want to spend your time and going on longer holidays. But that isn't going to happen overnight. So don't set financial freedom as your goal. Don't set this idea that you're going to work less as your goal, because you won't stick to it. There is no motivation to get there. But if you chunk things down into really manageable tasks, which we're going to talk about today or this evening, and when you chunk it down into manageable financial targets, then it becomes exciting because it doesn't seem so far out of left field that you can't keep going with it. And then the other reason why we struggle with hanging on to our goals is actually we don't trust ourselves. Because we have perhaps had years and years where we have set goals and not stuck to them. And so we do have this inner voice saying, oh, well, you want to do that, but you probably won't stick to it. You probably won't do it. So if you're self-doubting the whole time and you're second-guessing yourself, then you won't hold on to your goals. So you have to choose to be the future you now. That's easier said than done, I know. And it's a bit like saying fake it until you make it. I don't like that expression at all. But I do love the idea of the future you now. You just have to practice being the person that you want to be in this moment and pull the confidence forward, you know, in the right way. So I'm going to move on to move my presentation or my slideshow for you all to see. Normally I pop up in the corner, but I have no idea how to pop up in the corner on this one. On Zoom, you just do an advanced share and then you can arrive in the little corner of it. But
we can still see you on a little screen, Fiona, we can still see you on a little screen. So
yeah. Good, because I wave my hands around and you know, I don't want you to feel like you're having death by PowerPoint. But anyway, the first thing is welcome, and thank you so much to Acre for inviting me to do this. And I get really excited about passing on knowledge. I think people should be excited about passing on knowledge. It's not something you always get in this industry. It can feel a little tricky. You can feel quite isolated. You can feel that people don't want to help you. And that's partly because everybody is scared of the competition. There seems to be so much competition all the time that everybody gets a bit rattled by that, and it makes a lot of people close down instead of kind of speed up and be excited to share. But I love to share, and I want you to consider, hopefully you've all got your workbooks, but what I want you to consider is what are you aiming for? Are you aiming for a new start, a fresh start? You know, have you got your business going and you're just going to a growth phase, or are you in the point where you're just thinking about getting going? Maybe you're still doing full-time in the NHS and you're just doing this on a Saturday morning. Maybe you've transitioned from the NHS and you're already doing this full-time. I don't know, but whatever stage you're at, you have to move forward, because actually even if you stand still, you're going backwards, because if you stand still, there are plenty of people to go past you. So consider, is this a new start or a fresh start for you? You know, are you feeling super ambitious, but you kind of, it's almost like all the gear and no idea, you've got no idea where you're really heading. So you're just working, you're spending your time faffing around with a bit of marketing here and doing more training courses here, but you haven't quite got to the point where you feel like you are that confident business owner that you need to be to smash your goals in 2025. So I'm going to try and help you move forward with smashing some of those goals in a really meaningful way, because I want you to think about who you are, what you stand for, how much money you want to earn in your business. I want you to, in the same way that you hold up a mirror to all of the clients that come into you for treatment, I want you to hold a mirror up to your face, up to the face of your business in 2025 and say, what can I see in that mirror? What is looking back at me? Is it somebody who feels on top of their game, who feels organized, who knows where they're heading, who has manageable snippets, chunks of goals every month to step forward to? Or are you in that kind of painful circling phase where you almost feel like you've got this exciting hobby that you haven't actually managed to monetize yet in the right way? You know, and the standing out from the crowd bit is super important for you to nail, because we're going to talk about becoming a destination clinician and a destination clinic in 2025. That's what I want for you all, and that's what I want you to aim for. Because if you are a destination clinic, it does not matter if there is somebody to the right of you or the left of you. you are saying the right words into the right ears as you are marketing yourself, and your perfect person is resonating with you, and they are coming only to you. They aren't bothered about the rest. But I would suggest, somewhat controversially, that you're not spending enough time really thinking about your perfect person and your USP. But how can you actually market yourself effectively if you haven't done those hard yards? And I say it's controversial because people say, oh, I'm really stuck. I don't know what direction I'm going in. And I always sort of say, well, it is kind of your fault that you're stuck, because you're stuck because you're not prepared to hold that mirror up and go, right, what do I stand for? Who am I aiming for? And a lot of the time it's because you're scared of narrowing your audience. You're scared of not having enough people to treat. But honestly, if you are marketing to everybody, if you are trying to get yourself out there and be everyone's best friend, then you are just very bland and you are very vanilla. And you are at that stage only competing on price, how many offers you do, and perhaps location. You know, if somebody prefers to go to a clinic rather than a home salon, or if somebody, you know, doesn't particularly want to travel to a village to come and see you. You don't want to be judged on location, and you don't want to be judged on price, and you don't want to be judged on offers. But what else will you be being judged on if you aren't actually saying the right words into the right ears? And you might say to me, I have great clinical practice. I'm very experienced. I do all the training courses. I'm up on the latest technology. I have a great customer journey. You know, they come to me and they have a nice cup of coffee, and I spend really a great deal of time talking to them about this or that. And I'll say, great, that's absolutely fantastic. Of course, that's super important in your business. But actually, lots and lots and lots of other people are doing exactly that as well. So that isn't a USP. That isn't a reason for standing out from the crowd. That is just really good business that you should be doing. So I want you to dig deep this year and think about, what do you stand for and who are you aiming for? And this isn't a quick do. This isn't something that you just do overnight. This is something I spend a lot of time working with people on, because once you know what your USP is, what your unique selling point is, and what your and who your perfect person is, that informs absolutely everything in your business. You know, from your treatment menu to where you should be located, to perhaps the offers that you're putting on, to all of that, the platforms that you should be marketing on, all of those things come from who it is that you're aiming for. So if you started this year with tons of goals, but you're falling off a cliff, I want you to really look in that mirror and acknowledge where you are now. That's the best starting point. And if you have absolutely forgotten your goals already, then I want you to come up with a new set, a set that is more manageable. And I want you to think about taking the right actions, even if they're difficult, because tenacity in business is everything. Smashing 2025 will be about your habits, your attitude, and your tenacity. They are the reasons that you will actually succeed this year. It's not because you're great at business strategy. It is not because you're great at marketing. It's not because you get this mad lucky break. It is because you develop great habits and you are consistently applying those great habits to your business. And when you get a slap in the face or you fall flat on your face, you pick yourself up and you do it again, because not everything you will do will work first time. Often it'll be the second or third try that it will work. Just the same as you hopefully will go away at the end of this session and start thinking about goals in a different sort of way. But will you smash every single one of your goals? No, of course you aren't. You won't. Goals are something to aim at. Sometimes, you know, you aim at it and you go over the top. Sometimes it goes short. Sometimes you absolutely are bob on. But a goal is something that you aim for. You won't always hit it, but at least you tried. At least if you did your best, that's fantastic. And I can promise you, if you write the goals down in a meaningful fashion, if you chunk them down, you are much more likely to get them bob on and hit the goals straight away. So for your breakthrough in 2025, I want you to acknowledge really, really honestly where you are now in your business. Do you understand your business? Do you understand your business numbers? Do you know what your targets are each month, financial targets? Do you understand your USP? Do you understand your perfect patient? Because if you don't understand any one of those things or all of those things, they're the things I want you to consider in terms of making meaningful breakthrough goals. You know, you could think, right, March will be all about really nailing who I'm aiming for, or really nailing my USP. The end of this month, it could be I will have worked out all of my individual monthly financial targets, and I'm going to show you how to do that later on in this webinar. So don't worry if you've fallen behind, is what I'm saying. You will absolutely move forward and get beyond the idea of a feast and famine cycle, which I know everybody struggles with. You know, one minute you feel like you're doing okay, and then you look at your books for a few weeks later and it seems like it's a disaster. There is a big thing around offer culture. You see all the time about people advertising and saying, oh, I'll do adverts for you and I'll fill your diary and you'll have 40 new appointments a month. But usually that kind of setting is to do with putting this mad offer on that isn't sustainable, that won't bring people into your clinic in a meaningful way. And if they do come into your clinic, then you're not getting much money from them, and you're certainly not making a profit by the time you've paid for your advertising. And very importantly, they're not particularly your person, so they will look to somebody else for the next offer. You won't keep them as a lifetime customer. And by the way, it obviously got your initial worth customers, those people who walk through the door and pay you for that first appointment, and then you've got your lifetime customers. And obviously what you want to do is turn that initial worth customer into the lifetime customer. And a lifetime customer in aesthetics is about 3 to 5 years. So everything you're doing in understanding that perfect person is pulling them in, because then when you continue to grow and develop your business, you are nurturing those people all down the line. So you're not constantly chasing new ones. You are chasing some new ones and nurturing existing ones. So you have a lovely split of maybe every month 30% new people and 70% returning clients. That's a beautiful scenario in your business. So goals should be around how many new people do I want to attract into the business each month, and how many existing customers do I want to bring into my business each month. A little bit further down this webinar, we're going to talk about how you target your hours and break them down into appointment times, how you look at your average sale. But when we're talking breaking your numbers down into appointment times, which you then turn into financial goals, you have to think, right, that equates to X amount of new ones and X amount of existing ones coming back regularly. So think about that. Think about goals around, do I just attract or try and attract new, or do I take care of the ones that I've got? You should definitely have some strong goals around what that looks like this year. And if you've had a bit of a quiet period and people haven't come back, some of your goals this first half of the year should be about pulling people back into your clinic and reinvigorating them and nurturing them. I bet you're all depressed sometimes by hearing about people's other busy clinics, and I know that sounds awful to say you're depressed because other people are busy and you're not, and I'm sure you're very delighted for people who are busy in that sense, but in the sense that you think, why not me? Why is it me that's struggling? What am I doing wrong? And actually you're probably not doing anything wrong as such. You're just not doing the right things, and that's what you have to drill down with when you are goal setting, is not what I'm doing wrong. Don't worry about what you're doing wrong. Work out what you are doing that is right and do more of that, and then identify areas that you're just not doing at all. So you're not doing them wrong or right, you're just not doing them, and start to do more of those. And obviously in this webinar I can't go through them, the multiple layers of marketing that you could be doing, but goal setting is one of the things, doing it well, that you're probably not doing in the right way. So perhaps you feel like your pants at marketing and selling. Lots of people think they're pants at marketing, and you know, that is something you just move forward with and get better with over time, but it's certainly linked to your unique selling point and your perfect person. Selling is a big one. You absolutely do have to get great at selling, and I can tell you more about that, but it's something that we'll move on to another day. And this is the biggie of suffering from the goal fatigue, and thinking, gosh, it's only February and I'm already I'm off kilter. I want you to open your workbooks and have a look on these pages. I've put them into the presentation slightly out of order, but that hopefully won't faze anybody. Think about the things about what is stopping you from moving up. You know, what do you think is actually holding you back? And it may well be business and marketing overall, and that's fine. There's something that you can absolutely do about that, but try and nail down in more detail the things that you feel are stopping you from moving up, because you can form a clear plan around those things. You can spread them out across the year to learn them. One of the reasons I do a 6-month course for people is because you cannot learn everything all in one go. And so if your goal is to become brilliant at business in a month, that is unlikely to happen. If your goal is to be brilliant at marketing in a month, that is unlikely to happen. Can you do it over a longer period of time? Absolutely. So note down the things that are stopping you from moving up, and then chunk them down into an appropriate time frame to learn them. And there are brilliant ways of learning. You know, there's so many free resources out there. There's online courses, there's courses like mine, which are live coaching courses. But the thing is, there is tons of information out there. You just have to choose which information to learn when, and to put it into your plan in a chunked up way. So don't say, I'm going to become brilliant at business this year. Say, I'm going to become really good at understanding the numbers in my business this month. I'm going to become really good at local authority marketing this month. I'm going to become really good at understanding what people want from my website that month, and put those down as meaningful goals. And just don't try and do it all at once. And the other thing is, you have to think about what the optimum outcome is for your business. It may well be financial freedom, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it may well be a better life balance, as in not working every hour that God sends and being beholden to somebody else writing your shift pattern as to whether you're going to work Christmas or not work Christmas, and so on. So that might be the bigger picture goal. It's good to know where that is. But when you've acknowledged what that bigger picture is, then start saying, right, how do I reverse engineer that to the point that I am now? And if the point that you're at the moment is goal setting a waste of time, then ask yourself, is it really that goal setting is a waste of time, or have you just given up on it in the past so you don't trust yourself to achieve these ones? And it's at that point that you have to decide that you are going to be that future you right now, and you are going to try and stick with it, and you're going to create your goals and your targets in a different way. So have a think about this, and write it down. Write down the bigger picture one, and then write down the smaller goals. Reverse engineer, make that list of what's stopping you from moving on up, and start chunking those down as little meaningful goals throughout the year. And remember that this one is so true. That's the skills that brought you into wanting to run an aesthetic clinic. On, you know, those fabulous treatments that you can offer, those skills that you need for those, they aren't the skills that will turn your business into a profitable, booming place to be. So you absolutely must be clinically fabulous. You know, I absolutely want that for you. But I would hope that as medical professionals, you are all aiming for that level of authority around the treatments that you own. But you can be really, really good at that and still not make any money in your business, and certainly not attract people into your business, because actually it's that whole other set of skills that you have to bring into play to allow you to actually create the meaningful business that you want. You know, some of the mistakes that I see, and if these are your mistakes, I kind of want you to reverse goal them, as in decide that you aren't going to do them anymore and put new goals into place that don't include these. So if you're paying a fortune for social media and you aren't getting any leads in from it, and generally speaking, SEMrush, which is a big marketing platform, did some work a while ago on where leads come from for aesthetic businesses, and the breakdown that they came up with, that a good healthy aesthetics clinic or skincare clinic should get 60% of its leads from search engines, so Google and Bing and that kind of thing. And interestingly, now actually TikTok comes into that because lots of people use it as a search engine as well as a social media platform. And then less than 7% for a lot of aesthetics clinics is the lead value they get from social media. And yet you are possibly spending up to 80% of your time worrying about social media, and certainly 80% of your resources paying people to do social media for you. So have a think about that ratio. If you are spending lots of money on getting people to do your social media and it's not bringing you in any leads, then set that as a goal to do something about it. And if that means you have to do some of the social media yourself and spend the money elsewhere to bring in the leads, that might be a good thing to try. And by the way, the bit in between, so 60% websites or search engines, less than 7% social media, the rest in between, like 20%, is about word of mouth and referrals, and the rest is to do with email marketing and that kind of thing. That's the overall breakdown. So don't spend a fortune on social media if it is not bringing you in the leads for that your business needs. Don't spend hundreds of pounds on ads until you know what you're advertising. A marketing company that you will employ can only be as good as the briefing that you give them. So if you don't understand what it is you're asking them to do fully, because you don't fully understand who you stand for and who you're aiming for, it's very hard for them to do a really good job for you. So don't spend hundreds of pounds on adverts until you know exactly what it is that you want to advertise. But a lot of people rush to that point before they consider all the bit that comes before. You have to have one of your goals as really understanding what SEO means. Does that mean you have to do all the SEO yourself? Absolutely not. You know, I understand SEO, and I would never do it for myself, just because it's way more complicated than the overview you see when you watch videos on it. And you know, there are true experts who can do SEO for you. But is spending money on SEO way more important than spending it on social media? Yes. By the way, I'm not against social media. Social media is fantastic. You have to have a great platform. You have to be doing the things that you need to do so that people can get to know you and love you and like you and spend money with you. So they will definitely go and look you up on social media. But actually, they don't make bookings with you that way. In the same way, they're more likely to go to your website and look at your pricing list and all of that kind of thing before they send you a message on social media. Because on social media, you're just interrupting them on a journey somewhere else. So you have to interrupt them an awful lot to get them to stop and pay attention to you properly. Whereas if they're Googling clinic near me, or Botox near me, or filler near me, or polynucleotides near me, then, and you pop up because your SEO is right, then they're going to come straight to your website. They're already bought into the experience. So spend money on social media. Decide that that's a great thing to learn and go forward with this year. And as I said, pay somebody to do that for you rather than doing your social media. Be brave with your own social media. Get out there, and it's not about being able to lip sync beautifully to videos, although that's really entertaining and I love it when people do it super successfully, but it doesn't make me necessarily want to buy from them. So spend money on SEO if you're going to spend money on anything. Don't feel paralyzed by what you're doing. on my course, I talk a lot about the fact that you're a bit like you're stuck in this lovely bottle, and it's a lovely bottle and it's full of fizz, and you're full of fizz and you're full of excitement, and really what you want to do is you just want to gush out of this bottle and kind of like spread the love everywhere and tell everybody how fabulous you are and treat loads of people and do it really well. But what's happened is you've got this great big cork and it is stuck in the top of this bottle, and it's stopping you from being able to allow your fizz to go out to the world. And so don't allow that cork to stay in the bottle. And a lot of the reasons why the cork does stay in the bottle is because you're aiming for perfection, not progress. And I really, really want you to set one of your goals for this year as progress, not perfection. Because as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other in a really meaningful fashion, even if it's from week to week, just a little foot in front of the other, you know, one toe in front of the other toe, you are making progress. And perfection is the absolute killer of progress. If you constantly think, I can't put out a video because it's not perfect, I can't launch this new product on my website because it's not beautifully curated, if you're constantly thinking, I'm not good enough, then you won't make progress. So I want you to look at one of your goals for this year as progress, not perfection. And I want that to be a really big overarching goal for you, because it's easy to stick to if you have a little bit more of a don't care attitude about, you know, moving forward. And I do want you to develop that kind of like, right, okay, I'm just going to do it anyway attitude, because that's part of the tenacity as well. That's about determining that actually you're not going to let yourself down anymore. You are going to have confidence in yourself because you are the future you right now, and that's what you're going to do. So if you feel like you are a perfectionist and that is holding you back, then think about that: progress, not perfection. Obviously, this webinar is for healthcare professionals who are just wanting to move forward. And you have to decide to smash your goals in 2025, that it is a now thing. This is a now thing. This is not a week next Tuesday. This is not I'll start in March, or, you know, I'll start in June. This is definitely a now thing. That's what you've got to decide. And if it's a now thing, that's when you have to ditch the perfection. And if it's a now thing, you just have to say, I'm going to do it anyway. Whatever is happening, I am going to do it anyway. I might not feel very confident at social media, but I'm going to do it anyway. I might not know anything about SEO, but I'm going to do it anyway. And all of these things will help move forward. Looking at the numbers and setting your financial targets, you're going to do it anyway. I'm going to run through that, but, you know, holding a mirror up to the finances in your business is really important and will help you stay on track. So if you can visualize that you can do it, and that's about that overarching goal, if you can visualize that it's possible, you can do it. But do you have a plan? This is where the chunk goals come in. You start thinking, right, okay, that's my overarching goal. I'm going to reverse this backwards. I'm going to reverse this year, this 12 months, and work out what are all the things that I need to learn to do this year. And I'm going to push them down across the year so that they are manageable to learn, you know, over a 6-month period, or however long feels right for you. But do you have a plan, and how do you chunk goals into a plan? There was an experiment done, and I can't remember who did it, but anyway, it was about to do with dopamine hits, and it was to do with how people felt when they achieved something massive and how people felt when they achieved something small. And the dopamine hit is exactly the same for both things. So you might think, oh, I'm really excited about getting to that big final goal because I'm going to feel really good about it. But actually, if you chunk your goals down into much smaller little packages, you will get regular dopamine hits going, oh, I did that, I'm flipping marvelous at that, oh, I've done that one, I'm flipping marvelous at that. You will get all of these little mini hits as you go along, and the mini hits will allow you to grow in confidence. So if goal setting has always been a waste of time for you, do it differently. I want you to decide this year you're going to do it differently. You're going to move forward and find a different way of goal setting that will give you these mini dopamine hits as you go along, to allow you to build confidence. And the more competent you become at all of these different tasks, the more confident you will feel in what you're doing, until it becomes second nature. You know, the best analogy I can give you was, at one time or another, we all couldn't drive a car. I'm sure most of you can drive a car now, but at one time we couldn't drive a car, and the thought of learning to drive a car was hideous. You know, it's like, how do you do the gear stick? How do you steer the car? How do you do the indicators? You know, look in the mirror, all of those things at the same time. Oh, and not crash into all the people around you on the road. But in a very short space of time, you learn to drive that car. Even if it took you a year to do it, you learned to drive that car. And now you drive from A to B without even thinking about it. It doesn't even occur to you how you got from A to B. And if most of the time you couldn't even describe the journey of getting from A to B, because it has become so ingrained in you to be able to just do it and do it well. And so that's what will happen with your business if you set yourself these small manageable goals, because you'll be teaching yourself this and you'll teach yourself that, and that'll be in the plan, and then that'll be in the plan. You'll get these little dopamine hits, and then your confidence will build, and you'll then expand your brain to the next exciting idea because you suddenly realize you can do it. And that way you move forward with your goals, and actually you outpace whatever your original goals were, because you're suddenly really, really excited. Think about what the optimum outcome is for your business. If you think that goals are a waste of time, then chunk them down into 6 months and 12 months, and then think about the 2 and 5 year one as just separate things. But note them down and try and write them down every month. When I talk to people about the tasks they should be doing every week in their business, every month in the business, every year in the business, and we go through all of the different sections of what you need to be constantly thinking about, goals are always on there. You should be revisiting them, rethinking them, just like you revisit your numbers and rethink about your numbers. And because if you smash your numbers, you want to reforecast up. If you've missed the mark slightly, you might want to reforecast down. And so ultimately, you need to be thinking about your goals every time. And do you know that people who actually write down their goals are something like 70% more likely to achieve them than those people who just think passionately about them in their head? So you might think, I'm good at goals, I keep them in my head. I want you to write them down. I want you to write them down. I want you to look at them. I want you to revisit them regularly, because it trains your brain. So that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm going to do. It trains your brain in the right direction. It doesn't take you long to do it, but actually will make an enormous difference to smashing your goals this year. So make them tangible and exciting. This is a form of mind mapping. This is just a business tree. And what you'll see from this business tree is that most of what's going on here is below root level. So I want you to think about, when you're planning your business for this year and planning your goals and chunking them up into each of the months, what of these things, somebody excuse me, somebody's trying to ring me. What of these things do you need to do because you've not smashed them? These are all the different things that you need to learn. This is a typical business tree, and you need to decide what your business tree looks like, and then pull out all the different pieces in it or from it, and work out what you're great at, what you're a bit pants at, what's just not quite working, what you've not even considered. And some of it's a bit boring, some of it's much more exciting, but really this bit here, where you've got a lovely butterfly tree where everybody's attracted to you because you're speaking the right words to the right people. These are all your perfect patients flying in, and they're flying to you. They're coming to your website via the search engine, and you know, it's fabulous. So you have to do all of this root work and get it into goal format, chunks, little chunky goals, to ensure that you can grow your big business tree beautiful and strong, with all of those perfect patients flying in your direction. Top tasks for an outstanding 2025. This is first one is boot your inner critic into the back seat and aim for progress, not perfection. So remember, this is about you're going to be the future you now. I want you to really, really hang on to that phrase. I want you to be the future you now, and you're going for progress, not perfection. So if you miss some of these goals, that's fine, but at least try really, really hard to get to them, and don't allow yourself to give up. Have that tenacity. Become a destination clinician, which will enable you to stand out from the crowd. I will talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but this is about having people to the left and right of you, and nobody is interested in those people. So the competition doesn't matter, because you are speaking the right words to the right person. That person is hearing the words and they're flying straight to you. Your butterflies are flying straight to your butterfly tree, and they're not interested in what the competition is doing. So you have to become that destination clinician. Don't just set goals, set financial targets. I'll take you through that in a minute. Need a big piece of paper for that one. And ditch the knee-jerk marketing strategies and align your marketing plan with your financial goals. I'd love to deep dive into that a bit more, but probably don't have time to do that today. But think about all the things I said. If you're paying a fortune to somebody to do social media marketing and it's not bringing any leads into your business, you know, don't do it. Go in the right direction. Don't put the brakes on yourself now just because you might have felt like you're a bit off track at this stage. You know, keep going forward. Keep getting that future self in the right place. By teaching and learning and repetition and resilience, you will keep going with these goals. And I know I'll keep repeating the same thing, but this is how you smash the goals, through that continuity and repetition. And don't worry if you're not currently confident. Your unique selling point to make you a destination clinician. People really struggle with this, and you know, if anybody wants help with this, I do free strategy calls. So book a free strategy call in with me and we'll talk about it, because unique selling points are tricky, and most people to begin with cannot think what theirs is, or they think it's all of the things I described before, being a great clinician and offering a great customer journey, and they just aren't your USP. So that might be how you emotionally feel about the treatments you're giving, because it's something connected with your story. It might be that you do have a specialism in the menopause, or you have a specialism in treating male faces. So it might be a very obvious USP in that sense, or it might be in a more emotionally led USP that creates a story, so that you can speak with real truth and honesty to those people out there who are listening to you, and they will resonate with that. And again, they will fly to you because you are the perfect person. You have to know this to become a destination clinician. And once you're a destination clinician, you can create a destination clinic of any size, because you can take what you feel are the right things and lead those out to your staff, and encourage your staff to live and breathe the USP of your business. And again, then it's not just about you doing the right things. It means that everybody who's working for you, from your reception staff to other clinicians, who are also speaking the right language. And that's how you truly make your business grow, because you are feeding everybody else with your passion for who you are and what you and your clinic stand for. And again, it then doesn't matter who the competition is, wouldn't matter if you're in a row of them, you will stand out from the crowd. You have to, you'll see at the end, we're going to do a quick score system for your business, but you've got to have the ABCD method in your business. I'll go through what all of those mean, but it's to do with attracting and bolstering and converting people, leading you to becoming a destination clinician. So make this your USP for your goal plan for the next month. Understand your unique selling point, and be brave. Create your own vision with your own USP, your own perfect patient persona. Reverse engineer it, and don't just go with the flow. You know, you don't have to be cycling up that hill with a rusty bike and a flat tire, as most people are doing. You can choose to hop on a bright new bike, go down your own little path and get to the finish line, you know, super quickly and in a stronger position than everybody else. And you've got to remember, I love this phrase, the opposite of courage is not cowardice, it's conformity. Even a dead fish can go with the flow. So I don't want you to go with the flow. Whatever you do, plough your own furrow forward. So we're going to get on to marketing and maths go together like tea and biscuits. And this is so important for your goal setting process, because you are creating, hopefully, a 12-month marketing plan with a deep dive at granular level over a month and 3 months. That's super important. But what are you aiming for financially? Be brave with your financial targets, but be realistic with them, and be excited about what you can do and what you can achieve. You know, I talk to people about getting 10k months or 15k months or 20k months, and for some people who are still at the 2 or 3k month stage, are like, oh, that just seems like so far off. But I'm actually going to prove to you in a minute that actually it's not as far off as you think. But you won't hit your financial targets unless you actually program that into a marketing plan, as in what marketing are you going to do to achieve these financial targets that we're going to work out. And the thing is, I know for a fact that most people don't even know what their average sale is. They don't really know how much time they could, in theory, dedicate to just the injecting time of their business, because they're scared of opening their diaries up totally, or they open them up too much and they've got appointments a little bit all over the place. And most people don't say, this month I want to earn 10k, or next month I want to make a 12k month or a 14k month, because again, we are scared generally to name and claim what we want. But actually, to achieve a 10 or 12k month is not anywhere near as tricky as you think it might be. What I want you to do is have a little think now with you, use your workbook. I want you to have a little think about how much time you have actually to inject in your business, and write that down. So, you know, is it 2 half days? Is it 2 full days? Is it an 8 hours a week? Is it, you know, 5 days a month? Just work out roughly from an hour point of view how many hours in a week and a month you have to spend on your business. I'm going to go through an example. Bear with me on this, because there's obviously maths and calculation in it, so I'll talk through it. If anybody wants a PDF of this broken down so you can follow the example, then put your email address in the chat, and then I'll know that you want this particular PDF, and I can organise to get it sent, or book in a free strategy call with me, pick my brains ruthlessly, and then I'll ping the PDF over to you, because I'm going to break down now how you work out how much money is possible to earn based on the hours that you work in a month. So work out for yourself how much time you have to offer in a week, and therefore how much time you have to offer in a month. In this particular example I'm doing, I am basing it on 48 hours per month to inject, which is only 12 hours per week. Okay, so it's not an outrageous amount of time at all, but it's 12 hours per week, so 48 hours in a month. And obviously, a lot of you might be saying to me, Fiona, I'm not full yet, I'm just not full. And I know that this is what's possible in 12 months' time if you set your goals and you follow your goals. You also then have to look roughly how many of those are likely to be hour appointments and how many are likely to be half-hour appointments. I always put kind of Botox appointments down to about half an hour and filler appointments down to an hour for doing this exercise, because this is a broad look. This is not detail driven in as such. I mean, there are much more detail driven ways of working this out, but work out roughly how many half-hour appointments you do a month, how many hour appointments you do a month. Just look back in your books and just roughly work it out. In this scenario, we've got 12 hours a week, so 48 hours per month. 1/3 of my appointments are half an hour, 2/3 are 1 hour appointments. So actually, if you calculate all of that up, then I can possibly do, in my 48 hours of working in that month, I can do 64 appointments. So if I was fully booked and I was waving a magic wand, I could do 64 appointments in that 48 hours in the month. So once you've worked that out for yourself, you then have to know what your average sale is. And again, most people don't settle down and work out their average sale. An average sale for a clinician is about £250. A slightly more conservative average sale is about £200. A really good average sale would be £400 and £450. So an average sale is when you take your gross income for a month and you divide that down by the number of paying appointments you have. So this is on paying appointments. So take your gross average month and divide it down by paying appointments. And that will give you your average sale. And again, if you need this PDF, let me know and I can do it. I can send it to you. It's just got the formulas in there to follow. In this particular scenario, I'm going for a £200 average sale. Okay, so remember, I've got my 64 possible appointments I can do, and I know I averagely take £200 for every one of those 64 appointments. So in theory, if I was waving my magic wand and I was completely fully booked in that month, remember, only working 12 hours a week in my business based on taking £200 on average from each person, I would have a gross income that month of £12,800. And that's, you know, not to be sneezed at. It's definitely not to be sneezed at. And if actually I had the average sale, which is 250, and I would say it was 250 because most people's Botox is around the mid 250 point or above, your filler prices will mean, or should mean, that you're then kind of in the between the 250 and 300 mark for your filler prices. And so averagely 250 is an average sale for a clinician. But if I had done my 64 appointments at an average sale of £250 each, I would have had a 16k month. So, you know, we're not talking small amounts of money here. And even if we were being more conservative and I was downgrading that and saying in the month I'm only looking for 32 appointments, so, you know, that's only 8 appointments per week. Based on an average sale of £200, that would be 6,400 in a month. Remember, this is gross income, it's not profit. Hopefully, if you've all done your treatment profitability, you will know where your profit margin is and whether you're 30% profitable, 40% profitable, 50% profitable, and that all depends on your location. And, you know, I do a lot of teaching around why it's so important to do that, because obviously all your offers and everything you're doing come off the back of knowing how profitable or not you are. But you can see that this is it is possible to earn very good money, because actually if you're already up to some of those figures, fantastic, you can grow beautifully from there. But if you set yourself a financial target every month, so you might actually only be in the position where you're seeing 8 people a month, well, work out what your average sale is and what that means that you're taking generally income now. You know, you should see that from your paper, but then work forward. How do you grow that? So if you're seeing 10 people a month now, 20 people a month, 30 people a month, as we go through the months, how are you trying to grow? How many new people do you want to see each month? Name them. Say, I want 5 new clients this month. I want 10 new clients this month. I want 15 new clients this month. And then also say, of those paying appointments available, if I'm seeing 30% new people, so you work that out, what percentage of existing clients do I have to attract back in each month? Start breaking it down to that sort of level. So certainly work out your average sale, work out what you're trying to get each month from your clients. There is nothing better than hitting financial targets. You went into business to make money, so be super proud of that. Do not be embarrassed by naming how much money you want to earn, whether that's a 10k month, 50k month, or 100k month. So do whatever you need to do, but mark it down. As I said, you then have to put it all into a plan, and we haven't got time. I know we're already coming up to the hour soon, but that all has to go into a marketing plan, and be broken down month by month on your marketing. And these are all the lovely things that go into a marketing plan. But as I said, we don't have time to do that now. Don't make these mistakes. Don't be a generalist this year and not a specialist. Be a specialist using your USP and aiming for your perfect patient persona. Don't assume you're rubbish at marketing just because you're not good at lip syncing to the latest videos. There are multiple layers of marketing that you can do. And remember, you should aim for 60% of your leads this year to come through search engines, not through other things. And then 20 to 25% through word of mouth, local authority, all of that kind of thing. Brilliant. Create your marketing plan, feed your targets into it. How many people do you need each month? Don't be scared of setting your financial goals. Have a go the way I've just described it. It is revolutionary if you can do that month to month and work out what this year looks like and what your potential is for the year. And remember, hope is not a strategy. Don't rely on hope to get you where you want to be. Rely on facts and figures and markers each month. And don't go with the flow. Do your own thing. Plow your own route forward. So I want you to do a quick score on your business for now, because this will help you with your goal planning as well. You should all have this page in your workbook, and that translates to this. I want you to give yourself a business score based on how good you think you are at currently attracting people in your business. If it's 1, you're not fantastic. If you're 4, brilliant, love it. Same, how good do you think you are at bolstering every single lead that comes in your direction? Are you good at following up on everybody? Are you good at recalling and rebooking them when they've been in? Are you good at getting back to people if they've fallen off the face of the earth after an appointment? How good are you at all of that kind of thing? How good are you at converting? And you have to be honest at this. Most people tell me they're brilliant at converting, but actually when they truly look at their figures, this is one of the areas that they need to improve. This could be a goal for you. This could be a goal that you put in, a meaningful goal that will make a difference to your business. And what is your USP? How good are you with your USP? Do you know who you stand for? How close to being a destination clinician do you think you are? So give yourself a score, 1 to 4 in each of these boxes, and you should be doing this quarterly in your business, scoring yourself quarterly, seeing where you've improved. And if you base your goals on practical things like this month I'm going to really work on that, this month I'm going to really work on that, this month I'm going to practice my converting, because the truth is, if you fall down, you could be 4 for 3 of these things and 1 for 1 of them. If the 1 is for converting, you put all the effort into attracting and bolstering, and you've lost them all at converting. If you're no good at attracting in the first place, then definitely improve that first of all. But if you're good at attracting, but you're no good at following up on everything, then you'll never get to the conversion stage anyway. This you just have to keep working on and working. I always put cash flow here because cash flow is super important. Again, I don't have time to go through it now, but it is super important. And I'll teach everybody how to do a cash flow if everybody wants to do that at some different stage in the journey of learning to run your business. So who's your truth teller in the business? Have a think about this one, because obviously I'm a coach. I'm going to say coaching is marvelous, and it flipping is marvelous. Sports people have coaches for very good reasons. Business people have masterminds that they work in. All the top businesses have masterminds that they're part of, so they've got peer learning and support going forward. But you have to work out who is your truth teller in your life and who is helping you move forward. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people who are doomy and gloomy, that's how you will feel about sticking to your goals and moving forward. If you are surrounding yourself with proactive, excited people who are all desperate to pop their corks out of their bottles, then you will also flow forward and do great things. And what do I mean by a truth teller? I mean somebody who will honestly hold out their hand, give you advice, help you move forward, because your friends and family can be tricky on that front. They'll either not tell you the truth because they love you desperately and they want you to succeed, or they're a bit too truthful and actually are worried that you're going to fail, so they pull you backwards. So your truth teller probably doesn't or shouldn't be family members, friends. Some friends can be great, so I'm not going to say don't make it friends, but who is your truth teller keeping you on track? Who is keeping you accountable for everything that you're doing in your business? Because if this is a now thing, and if you really, really want your business to like go to the highest level that it possibly can this year, and then beyond it after that, then you have to have accountability, you have to have mentorship, you have to have a truth teller in your business, whoever, wherever that comes from. And I just want to inspire you a little bit, which is these are some of the people that I've worked with who are all absolutely brilliant in their own way. You might recognize some of the faces from social media, but they're all brilliant because they are all super tenacious. They all absolutely deserve every bit of success that's come their way. Most of these people are now up for aesthetic awards. Some have already won awards this year. Dr. Hazel has just won 2 awards at menopause in aesthetics. 3 of these people are up for awards in the aesthetics awards this year. You know, most of them only really meaningfully went into business the last couple of years. Not all of them, but most of them, and all of them have smashed their goals. Dr. Allison, within the first 6 months, I think, had smashed her 1-year goals, her 2-year goals, and was in the point of smashing her 5-year goals. She'd left GP land, and she'd moved, was just about planning on moving to a bigger clinic. You know, Dr. Bethany had started in a tiny clinic, moved to a multi-clinic where she's got loads of rooms in it. All of these people have got great success stories. And did they start from this massive point? You know, is there anything about them that means that they are likely to be more successful than you are this year? No, is the honest truth. They are all amazing, amazing people, and they have all been really tenacious. They have all set their goals, and they have been determined to be their future self now, and have achieved it along the way. So, as I said, feel free to book a free strategy call with me. I'm really, really happy for you to pick my brains, ask me for the download of the breakdown on how to target yourself financially. That's great. I can send you a PDF on that. And you know, if you're fully fired up, then hang around. If you want to ask me any questions, that's absolutely fine. I'm really happy to answer questions. As some of you may know, I do have a 6-month course, so you know, you're all welcome to find out more information about that. But actually, I don't work with anybody until I've had a really good natter with them on a 45-minute call anyway. So book your free strategy call and pick my brains. So there you go. That's me.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you so much. It was amazing. And what we've got as well as we've got the recording, so we can obviously utilize that and circulate that as well. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Lovely. Well, nice to see you all. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.